Whispers of the Soul. A journey of remembering, listening, and living your deepest truth. 5. Spiritual Awakening Book 6. 5. Spiritual Awakening Book 5. Author: Serafina Hartwell. Narrator/producer: Soul Sanctuary Audio. Copyright: Serafina Hartwell. All rights reserved. Soul Introduction. A language beyond words. There comes a moment, quiet, almost imperceptible, when the noise of the world begins to crack. Not loudly, not violently, but like a soft seam unraveling in the tapestry of your life. You feel it before you can name it. A strange ache behind your ribs. A longing that no lover, no career, no achievement seems to satisfy. This is not emptiness. It is an invitation. Beneath the clamor of expectations, roles, responsibilities, and regrets, something ancient begins to stir. A whisper, not from your mind, not from your past, but from the very soul of you. A voice that doesn't speak in sentences, but in symbols, in sensation, in knowing. We are taught to ignore this voice, to dismiss what cannot be proven, to silence what cannot be explained. And yet there it is, calling you anyway. The whisper comes through dreams, synchronicities, tears you don't understand. It is the soft nudge when your feet are pointed one way and your heart tugs another. It is the question behind every should. The pause before every yes that doesn't feel quite right. You are not imagining this. You are remembering. This book is not a manual. It's a mirror. A poetic companion for the tender process of returning home to yourself. Not the self the world taught you to be, but the self that has always known, deep in the marrow of your being, who you truly are. We will not rush through this journey. We will walk with reverence. You are not here to fix yourself. You are here to listen, to peel back the noise, to befriend the ache, to recognize the whispers. This is not the kind of awakening that comes with fireworks. It is not a straight path to enlightenment. This is a spiraling unfolding, intimate, raw, radiant in its honesty. Sometimes the whisper will bring clarity. Sometimes it will shatter everything familiar. Always, it will guide you home. In these pages, we'll explore the sacred language of your soul. We'll learn how to hear it, trust it, and live it, not in some faraway mystical future, but in the tenderness of everyday life. If you are here, it means your soul is already speaking. Let us listen together. 1. The murmurs beneath the noise. Before a soul roars, it murmurs. It begins in the cracks, the unnoticed corners of our lives. You may be driving home from work, watching the sunset blush against a traffic-jammed skyline, and suddenly wonder, is this it? Not out of ungratefulness, not because your life is broken, but because some part of you, wise, wordless, knows you were made for more. This chapter is about that quiet unrest, the subtle inner friction, the sacred discomfort that signals something deeper is calling. The sacred discontent. Often, the beginning of a soul awakening feels like restlessness. You can't quite place it. Your outer life may look fine, even beautiful, but inside there's a whispering dissonance, a sense that the life you're living, while functional, no longer fits. It's like wearing a coat that's one size too small, once cozy, now constricting. This isn't failure. It's initiation. The soul doesn't shout. It doesn't demand. It nudges. Maybe you're drawn to books on intuition or mysticism that you'd never touched before. Maybe you cry in the shower and don't know why. Maybe you begin to wake in the middle of the night with a sense of urgency or clarity that fades by morning. All of this is sacred. All of this is soul. Signs you're hearing the whisper. Here are some common signs the soul is beginning to speak. Not exhaustively, but gently. You feel emotionally tender or too sensitive. The things you used to enjoy no longer fulfill you. You feel a growing disinterest in superficial conversations or entertainment. Synchronicities, meaningful coincidences, increase. You feel drawn to nature, silence, or solitude. You're curious about spirituality, energy, or soul purpose. You can no longer tolerate situations or people that drain you. These are not signs you're breaking down. They are signs you're waking up. The false narratives we inherit. Most of us are trained to mistrust our inner world. We're taught, don't be so emotional. Be realistic. Stop dreaming. Grow up. And so, we disconnect from our own intuition. We silence the whisper. We trade our soul's longings for safety, approval, and predictability. But the soul is patient. It waits. And when you're ready, when the outer life is no longer enough, the whisper returns. It may feel like a breakdown, but it's a breakthrough, honoring the discomfort. The early stages of awakening can be disorienting. You may question your relationships, career path, belief systems, or even your sanity. This is not because something's wrong with you, but because something right is emerging. To honor the whisper, you don't need to make dramatic life changes overnight. You only need to listen, to be willing to sit in the discomfort without rushing to fix it. Try this. Sacred listening practice. Find a quiet space. Close your eyes. Breathe slowly and deeply. Place your hand on your heart. Ask gently, what is my soul trying to tell me right now? Don't force an answer. Just listen. Let the silence speak. The more you practice, the more. You'll learn to recognize the voice of your soul, not as thunder, but as wind in the leaves, a flicker in your chest, the tear that forms without logic. Making peace with not knowing. One of the hardest parts of early awakening is the lack of clear direction. The old path no longer feels right, but the new one isn't yet visible. This liminal space, the in-between, is rich with transformation. You are being emptied so you can be filled with truth. You are being softened so your soul can speak through you. The mind wants clarity. The soul wants connection. When you surrender the need to figure it out, something beautiful happens. The whisper grows louder, not in volume, but in intimacy. You begin to recognize it as familiar, as home. Closing invitation. If you felt that ache, that restlessness, that silent knowing that your life is meant to be more aligned, more alive, more true, this chapter is your confirmation. You are not lost. You are being found. By yourself, by your soul. Let this be the beginning of a deeper listening. The whisper has reached you. Now, the conversation begins. 2. Remembering who you are. There is a moment, quiet but seismic, when you stop asking, who am I supposed to be? And start whispering, who have I always been? This chapter is a return, not to your titles, your trauma, or your timeline, but to your essence, to the you before the world told you who to be, to the you underneath the roles, the masks, the survival strategies. Remembering is not learning something new. It's unlearning everything that isn't you. The soul self versus the constructed self. For most of our lives, we build identities based on what will help us belong, feel safe, or succeed. These identities, the achiever, the caretaker, the perfectionist, the rebel, serve a purpose. They protect us, help us function, and give us labels to navigate the world. But eventually, they grow heavy. You wake up one day and realize you're playing a role you no longer believe in. The constructed self says, I am what I do. I am what I produce. I am what others think of me. The soul self-whispers. I am what I love. E. I am the breath between moments. I am part of something vast and eternal. Al. When you begin to hear that whisper, the ego trembles, not because it's bad, but because it knows it's no longer in charge. This is the first step toward remember. Ing. The layers that hide you. Imagine yourself as a luminous being. At Y. Our core, radiant, whole, wise. Over the years, layers have been added. Childhood conditioning, social expectations, cultural programming, family, wounds, internalized shame, coping chonisms. Each layer forms a kind of armor necessary once, but now in the way, your soul doesn't need more armor. It needs your presence. This remembering is not about becoming something. It's about peeling back what why. Oh, you are not. Try this brief reflection. Journal prompt, the unlayering. Close your ES. Breathe. Ask, what parts of me were learned? Not chosen? What are the stories I inherited but no longer believe? Write freely. Let your soul respond why. Without editing. Inner child, the guardian of truth. One of the most sacred doorways to remembering is your inner child. Before you learn to perform, please or prove you were whole, curious, open, unapologetically you. The inner child still lives inside you, not frozen in age, but alive with memory. They remember what lit you up, what made you feel safe. Broke your heart. They are not weak. They are rewild with wisdom. To reconnect with them is to reclaim the essence that time tried to bury. Reconnection practic. Inner child letter. Sit quietly with a photo of yourself as a child, if available. Place a hand on your heart. Say gently, I see you. I'm he. Now. I'm listening. Then write a letter from your adult self to your inner child. What do they need to hear? What did you forget that they remember? This is not sent. Mental. It is sacred. Letting go of false reflections. Many of us carry distorted reflections, not of who we are, but who we were told we were. You're too sensitive. You'll never be enough. You're difficult. Emotional. Lazy. Weird. These were projections, not truths. But repeat. Enough, they took root. To remember who you are, you must release the mirrors that lied to you. Ask yours. LF. Who gets to define me? WH. Did I outsource my worth? What am I ready to reclaim? This reclamation isn't loud. It doesn't always announce itself. It begins with a whisper, no more. The body remembers, too. While the IND forgets, the body remembers. It remembers W. Had it felt like to dance freely, to cry without shame, to say no without guilt, to laugh from your belly, to feel connected, not corrected. The soul speaks and sends. Asian. The body is its translator. When you feel resonance, goosebumps, heart flutters, a sigh of relief, our soul is saying, yes, this is you. When you feel constriction, a tight throat, clenched jaw, sinking chest, why? Our soul is saying, this is not you. Relearning to trust your bodies, why? Stom is a radical act of remembrance. Embodiment prompt, soul movement. Playa, piece of music that stirs your heart. Close your eyes and move, not to perform, but to feel. Your body speak. Let your soul dance. This is how truth rises. Not from thoughts, but from sensation. Soul truth is often simple. Contrary to what many believe, the soul's Ruths are not always complex revelations. Often they are simple, quiet, familiar. I want to rest. I miss being in nature. I need more play. This is not working for me. I feel joy when I create. These are not trivial. They are sacred instructions. The more you listen to these soul nudges, the more they lead you to yourself. Ritual, naming the true self. F. Let's end this chapter with a sacred act. Name yourself, not with titles, not with roles, but with truth. Write a soul poem using the phrase, I remember the way I used to dance in the rain. I remember the sound of my own laughter before it was quieted. I remember that my worth is not up for debate. I remember that I am not too much. I am enoughness incarnate. Keep going. Let it spill out. Let it liberate. When you write T.S. way, you aren't creating. You are remembering. Close eye. In reflection. You are not lost. You are layered. And every layer you peel back brings you closer to your lie. This is not a journey of becoming someone else. It is a sacred return to the one you've always been. The world will try to name you, but the soul will always whisper back. You already are. You always were. And now, beloved, you remember. 3. Sacred silence and inner listening. The world teaches you to be loud, to speak, to produce, to respond quickly. But you're so, all it whispers. And to hear it, you must become still. This chapter is a homecoming to the sacred. Silence within. Not emptiness, not boredom, not void, but a rich, shimmering space where presence hums. And truth breathes. The soul does not compete with noise. It waits until you are ready to listen. The culture of constant noise. From the moment we wake up, we are bombarded. Notifications, messages, obligati, ons, expectations. Even in our solitude, the mind chatters. What should I do next? What if I'm wrong? What do they think of me? We confuse activity with aliveness. We confuse noise with connecting. On. But the soul is not found in the scroll or the schedule. It is found in the pause, in the in-between moments when you stop reaching and start receiving. Many fear silence because it reveals what distraction hides. But in that silence lives your original language. Rediscovering the inner voice. You were born knowing how to listen. Before you had words, you felt the world. You knew when something felt right, when it did. And you moved toward joy. You cried when there was dissonance. That was your soul's compass. As life unfolded, that compass often got blurry. Beneath programming. Don't be too quiet. Don't make waves. Speak up. Stay in your lane. So we learned to trust the outside more than the inside. But the whisper never stopped. It simply waited for you to remember how to hear it again. Underscore. Underscore, 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 underscore. The sacredness of slowness. One of the most radical things you can do in a fast world is slow down. Slowness is not laziness. It is devotion. It allows you to feel fully instead of reacting automatically. Witness your thoughts rather than be ruled by them. Respond with intention instead of habit. In stillness, your soul speaks through a sudden image or memory, a quiet knowing, a tear that wells up without warning, a deep exhale. Stillness is the soil where soul seeds grow. Reflection prompt. When was the last time you were truly still, not scrolling, not planning, not worrying, just being? What did you notice? Silence is not empty, it's alive. Many people fear silence because they associate it with loneliness, But true silence is Al. Eve. It buzzes with intelligence. It sings in frequencies beyond lang. Wage. Sit in nature, among trees, beside water, under stars, and you'll begin to fey. Ellet. Silence is the symphony of the soul. It's not an absence of sound, it's a presence of depth. Listening as a sacred practice. To hear the soul, you must do more than be silent. You must learn to listen. There's a difference between hearing and listening. Hearing is passive, sound moving through space. Listening is active, your entire being in receptive presence. To least, and inwardly, create space, physically and energetically. Let go of the need for immediate answers. Sit with what arises, even if it's discomfort or nothing at all. Trust that what you need will face in time. Sacred listening practice. Light a candle. Sit in a quiet room with a journal. I'll beside you. Close your eyes. Ask silently, "Dear soul, what do you want me to know today?" Breathe. Listen. When something comes, a word, an image, a sensation, gently write it down. This is not performance. His is presence. Tuning in through nature. Nature is the original sanctuary of silence. A forest doesn't rush. A river doesn't explain. The moon doesn't ask for approval. Being in nature naturally reattunes you to soul frequencies. Why? Because nature is soul. Expressed through form. When you walk among trees, lie on the grass, or stand beneath the stars, you remember what your nervous system forgot. You are part of something ancient, intelligent, and interconnected. Try this. Nature listening ritual. Go outside. Find a tree. Sit beneath it. Close your eyes. Don't ask anything. Just listen. Notice the wind, the rustle, the heartbeat of the earth beneath you. Stay until something shifts inside you, even slightly. That shift is the WHI. Spur becoming a voice. Differentiating. G between mind and soul. A common question on the awakening path is, how do I know if it's my soul speaking or just my mind? Here's a gentle G. Wide. The mind, the soul. Anxious, urgent, calm, timeless. Logical, anally. To call intuitive, symbolic. Concerned with approval anchored in truth. Often loud, repetitive, subtle, but resonant. Needs to know, willing to trust. The mind P. Rotex. The soul expands. Both have value, but only one holds your deepest truth. With practice, you begin to recognize the tone of your soul. It isn't pressure. It nudges. It says things like, "You're safe." Wait. Not this. This is home. Let go. Trust. Even when it invites you into discomfort. It feels honest, not forceful. The art of sacred questioning. One way to strengthen your inner listening is through sacred questions. Open dead invitations to the soul. These are not questions for the intellect to solve. They are portals. Try asking, what am I being called to release? What parts of me need more care? What truth have I been avoiding? Where is my energy naturally flowing right now? What do I need to hear, but haven't wed myself to? Ask, then wait. The answers may come through a dream, a song, a sudden knowing while washing the dishes. The soul is creative with delivery, but the invitation beggy. NS with your willingness to ask, becoming the listener of your life. When you practice deep listening, you begin to hear not just the soul, but life itself. You notice the subtle shift in a friend's voice. You sense when a room needs silence instead of advice. You feel when your body needs rest instead of discipline. You intuit when to speak and when to simply hold space. Tending becomes your sacred posture. Not to fix, not to control, but to receive life, truth, presence. You stop rushing toward the next thing and begin to ask, what is here, now waiting to be heard? This is soul intimacy. Ritual, a day of quiet. If you feel disconnected from your inner knowing, try this. 1 day silence ritual. Choose a day, or even half a day, to go silent. No talking, no texting, no social media. Let loved ones know in advance if needed. Spend time journaling, meditating, walking, or simply being. At the end of the day, write what you noticed. You may be surprised by Hat rises when the world falls away. Closing reflection. You don't need to shout to be heard by your soul. You don't need perfect posture or 10 hours of meditation. You only need presence. Stillness is not weakness. It is strength wearing gentleness. In silence, you don't lose yourself. You find the one who has been patiently waiting. And as you listen, you'll hear what has always been true. You are not separate from the sacred. You are its echo, its vessel, its voice. So, beloved, sit down. Breathe in the quiet. List. And not just with ears, but with your being. The soul is king. And now, you are ready to for navigating the soul's longing. There is a particular ache the mind cannot soothe, a longing that doesn't come from lack, but from remembering. It rises when you're lying awake at night, when a certain melody stirs something ancient inside you, when a quiet moment brushes against your ribs and whispers, there is more. This longing is not a problem to fix. It is a compass. It is your soul stretching toward its own horizon. In this chapter, we walk with Jing, not to quiet it, but to listen to it, the ache that leads you home. Longing is not weakens. It is the soul speaking in its native tongue. This ache may surface as a yearning to belong more deeply, a sense that your life is fine, but not alive, a desire for truth, creativity, intimacy, or spiritual tie-in, a pull towards something you can't yet name. Often, we're told to distract ourselves from longing. Keep busy. Be grateful for what you have. Don't dwell on what isn't. But the soul doesn't long out of greed. It longs out of remembrance, of the beauty you came to live, of the wholeness you were born to of the life that reflects your truest frequency. Longing is sacred. It's the inner bell that rings when something true is trying to awaken. Longing versus ego-driven desire. It's important to distinguish between soul longing and ego desire. Ego desire comes from comparison, fear, or insecurity, is fueled by not enough, often focuses on image, status, control, or validation. Soul longing emerges from the heart space, feels expansive, not pressured, invites creativity, connection, purpose, and presence. Isn't obsessed with how, it's anchored in why. You can feel the difference. The ego says, I want this so I can feel worthy. The soul says, I am worthy, and this desire reflects my truth. When a longing continues to return, gently, consistently like a tide, it is not an impulse. It is guidance. Facing the fear beneath the longing. Longing exposes what we've hidden. And what we fear most isn't failure. It's becoming who we truly are. Because that would mean letting go of old roles, risking judgment, choosing the unknown over the familiar, trusting something invisible. So we hesitate. We rationalize. We say, maybe later, when I'm ready, when I have more time. But longing doesn't operate on convenience. It knocks until you answer. It breaks you open not to wound you, but to pour light in. To follow the soul's longing is to surrender to your becoming. The grief of awakening. Soul longing often walks hand in hand with grief. As you begin to hear what your soul wants, you also begin to realize how long you've lived without it, how often you've silenced yourself, how many years were spent dimming your light to fit in. Let that grief come. It is not self-pity. It is soul mourning what was forgotten and celebrating that it's being remembered now. Grief is not the opposite of love. It is evidence of love. You grieve the parts of you that were unseen. You grieve the art you didn't make, the joy you didn't chase, the truths you swallowed to survive. But in that grief, something cracks, and through the crack, your soul begins to sing. Listening to the language of longing. Longing speaks in 100 different tongues. Your job is to notice the one that speaks to you. Some hear it in dreams. Others feel it in restlessness. Some sense it in nature, music, solitude, or sacred texts. It may show up as envy, irritation, or awe, all signs that something within you wants to live. Ask yourself, what stirs my heart, even if I don't understand why? What moments make time disappear? When do I feel most like myself? What do I secretly long for, but haven't dared name? Soul inquiry exercise. Complete this sentence 5 times, without overthinking. If I were deeply honest with myself, I would admit that I long for. Let whatever arises be honored. Don't edit. Let the ache speak. Channeling longing into creation. One of the most alchemical things you can do with longing is create from it. Don't wait for perfection. Don't wait for clarity. Longing is the seed, not the fully bloomed flower. Create a poem, a song, a movement, a garden, a prayer, not to impress, but to express. When you create from longing, you give shape to your soul's desires. You bring the invisible into form. Your creation becomes a bridge between the world that is and the world that wants to be. What wants to move through you? What is the longing asking to become? Even the act of lighting a candle and sitting in silence can be sacred if done with intention. Your life is a canvas. Longing is the brush. The myth of having it all together. There is no perfect life where longing vanishes. Even when you are aligned, awakened, surrounded by love, you will still feel the pull. That's because the soul is infinite. It doesn't seek arrival. It seeks expansion. You are not failing because you still long. You are alive. The key is to stop chasing completion and start listening to the conversation within. Longing says, keep growing, keep deepening. There is more of you to meet. It doesn't mean your life is wrong. It means your soul is ready for the next unfolding. Walking with longing, not against it. When longing arises, most people try to silence it or satisfy it instantly. But the most profound transformation happens when you walk with longing instead of avoiding it. Treat it like a sacred guest. Sit with it. Ask it questions. Let it guide you to hidden truths. Let it awaken parts of you that have gone quiet. You may discover a relationship that needs deeper intimacy, a part of yourself you've neglected, a dream you buried because it felt too big, a creative calling you've postponed for years. Longing is a lantern, not a flaw. Follow it, not frantically, but reverently. Ritual, an altar of longing. Create a small sacred space in your home, a visual representation of your soul's desire. Soul altar ritual. Choose a quiet corner. Place items that symbolize your longing. A feather, a stone, a photo, a word, a candle. Each day, sit with your altar in silence. Offer a prayer. I honor this longing not as a burden, but as a guide. I trust what I feel is sacred. I do not need to have it all figured out. I am listening. I am becoming. This space becomes a mirror, not of lack, but of love. Underscore, 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 underscore. Closing reflection. You are not broken for longing. You are blessed. Longing is the soul's way of calling you back to aliveness. It's not demanding a new life overnight. It's asking you to soften, to listen, to trust what you feel. You don't need to chase the longing. You need only follow its light, one breath at a time. So the next time your chest aches, your throat tightens, or your eyes sting with unspoken dreams, pause and say to yourself, this too is holy. This ache is the opening. This longing is my soul, reminding me of what I'm here for. 5. Shadow songs and the echoes of pain. Not all whispers are soft. Some come through storms, through grief that blinds, through silence that screams, through nights that stretch too long. Pain, too, is a messenger. It does not speak in riddles. It howls what has been hidden. It sings what we've tried to bury. This chapter is about the shadow, not as something to conquer, but to companion. Not as a flaw, but as a guidepost toward wholeness. What is the shadow? The shadow is not evil. It is unintegrated. It holds the pain we weren't ready to feel, the truths we feared would make us unlovable, the parts of ourselves we were told to shame, hide, or silence. The shadow forms when our inner world is fragmented for the sake of survival. It is where your exiled self lives, still breathing, still singing, still waiting to be seen. To reject the shadow is to reject your own depth. To embrace it is to reclaim your power. The pain as portal. Pain does not mean you've done something wrong. It means something important is rising. Your body aches. Your emotions feel heavy. Your memories knock louder than usual. You feel tired, irritable, or lost. This is not weakness. It's soul excavation. The soul will often use pain to get your attention. Because pain is honest. It strips away illusion. It demands presence. Instead of numbing, what if we turned toward the pain and asked, what are you trying to show me? What is ready to be felt, not fixed? What truth lives beneath this ache? The echoes of unfelt grief. Many of us carry grief that was never fully witnessed. The grief of not being chosen. The grief of silencing our voice. The grief of abandoning our own needs for acceptance. The grief of lives we never lived. This grief doesn't disappear. It waits. It echoes through our relationships. It echoes in our reactions. It echoes in the tension we carry in our necks and backs and bellies. But grief is not a curse. It is proof that we once loved, once dreamed, once tried. To honor your grief is to say, I matter. My experience matters. Compassion as the light in the shadow. You cannot punish yourself into wholeness. You cannot shame your shadow into silence. The only thing that heals the fragmented self is compassion. To offer yourself compassion is to sit beside your sadness, not rush it away. Hold your anger without making it wrong. Say to every part of you, I see you. I will not abandon you again. Try this. Shadow integration practice. Close your eyes. Imagine the version of you who was most lost, most afraid, most ashamed. Picture yourself sitting beside them. Don't fix. Don't judge. Just hold their hand. Whisper, you don't have to carry this alone anymore. This is not imaginary. This is soul repair. The body keeps the score. The shadow doesn't just live in the psyche. It lives in the body, in the clenching jaw when you want to speak your truth, in the tightening chest when love feels too risky, in the hunched shoulders that learn to carry too much. Our bodies store unprocessed emotion. Our posture often mirrors our pain. To release shadow is also to move it through the body. Cry without apology. Shake out your limbs. Breathe deeply into the tension. Dance what words cannot express. Let the body sing the song the voice cannot yet speak. The beauty hidden in darkness. The shadow is not just sorrow. It is where your fire lives. Your sensuality, your creativity, your rage as sacred boundary, your hunger for more, your magic. These parts were buried not because they were bad, but because they were powerful, and power often frightened those who couldn't hold it. When you reclaim your shadow, you reclaim your radiance. Not the polished, perfect kind, but the raw, rooted kind that says, I've met the dark. I am not afraid of my depth. Underscore. Underscore, 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 underscore. Loving what was once rejected. You've likely been taught that love means being good, but the soul wants truth more than perfection. To love yourself fully is to love even the parts that aren't polished, the jealousy, the messiness, the desire to hide, the parts that hurt others and ourselves. Loving the shadow doesn't mean you justify harm. It means you understand the pain that shaped your reactions and you choose to meet it with honesty and care. This is maturity. This is healing. This is soul remembrance. Working with the shadow in daily life. Shadow work doesn't just happen in rituals and journal pages. It happens in real time. When someone triggers you, pause and ask, what part of me is being touched? When you feel judged, ask, what does this reveal about how I judge myself? When you feel resentment, ask, what boundary am I not honoring? Every discomfort is a doorway. You don't have to walk through all of them today. But the more you do, the more you become whole. Ritual, the shadow letter. One of the most cathartic tools for shadow integration is the act of writing, not for others, but for yourself. Shadow letter ritual. Light a candle. Create a quiet space. Write a letter to a part of you you've rejected. Anger, fear, shame, hunger, grief. Let it speak. Let it be raw. Then respond with compassion. You might begin, Dear part of me that feels unworthy, or Dear part of me that lashes out when I feel small. When you witness the shadow without abandoning it, it begins to alchemize into light. Closing reflection. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be whole. And wholeness requires you to hold both the light and the shadow with equal reverence. Pain is not your punishment. It is your passage. Through it, the soul speaks in honest tones. Not to destroy you, but to return you to yourself. So when the ache rises, when the grief chokes, when the old wounds echo again, don't run. Sit. Breathe, listen, and say to yourself, even here, I am not alone. Even this is holy. Even this can become light. 6. When the soul speaks through the body. Your soul doesn't only speak through intuition, symbols, or dreams. It also speaks through your muscles, your skin, your breath, your bones. The body is not a mute vessel. It is a wise, living oracle, constantly whispering what the mind forgets. This chapter is about listening with your skin. It's about tuning in to the sacred conversation happening beneath your jawline, behind your spine, within your cells. Your body remembers. Your soul speaks through that remembering. The body as sacred messenger. We are taught to see the body as a tool, to push, fix, sculpt, control. But the body is not just biology. It is biography. It holds your stories. It carries your emotions. It reflects your soul's alignment or misalignment. When something in your life isn't working, the body often knows before the mind does. A clenched stomach in a toxic conversation. A throat that tightens before you speak your truth. Shoulders that ache from holding too much for too long. Skin that breaks out when your boundaries are being breached. These are not inconveniences. They are soul signals. Underscore, 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 underscore. Listening to sensations as guidance. Just as you learn to read words and signs, you can learn to read sensations. Every physical sensation has an energetic message. Tightness may signal fear or unspoken truth. Numbness may reveal overwhelm or disconnection. Heat may represent anger, passion, or transformation. Heaviness can indicate grief, fatigue, or soul resistance. Lightness often accompanies truth, joy, and resonance. Try this simple awareness check-in. Embodied check-in practice. Close your eyes. Breathe slowly. Ask, what am I feeling in my body right now? Where is it located? If this sensation could speak, what would it say? The body will answer, not in words, but in waves. Underscore, 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 underscore. Stored emotion and somatic memory. Your body has been with you through every experience, even the ones your mind forgot. Trauma can live in the hips. Heartache may linger in the chest. Shame hides in the gut. Suppressed tears lodge in the throat. If your body tenses or flinches without clear reason, it may be replaying a memory not yet released. This is why talk therapy alone sometimes isn't enough. The soul wants to be healed through the body, not just around it. To release the old story, the body must feel safe enough to finish the experience it couldn't complete before. This is not re-traumatization. It is liberation. Practices to deepen soul-body connection. Here are somatic practices that support listening to the body as soul terrain. 1. Grounding touch. Place your hand on your belly, heart, or thighs. Feel the warmth. Say internally, I am here. Your presence alone creates a healing field. 2. Intuitive movement. Let your body move without choreography or control. Roll your shoulders. Rock your hips. Stretch like a cat. Let your soul move through you. 3. Breath work. Breath is spirit. Use it intentionally to clear stagnant energy and access inner guidance. Try slow, deep belly breathing or gentle sighs with sound. 4. Sound release. Humming, moaning, sighing, singing. These activate your vagus nerve and open blocked expression. Let your voice rise not to perform, but to purge. 5. Rest as reconnection. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is sleep. Your soul often whispers through dreams, through the softness of stillness. Rest is not laziness, it is recalibration. Pain as a signal, not a punishment. So often we see pain as the enemy. But pain, especially persistent or mysterious pain, is often a sign that something is not being heard. Ask yourself, where am I saying yes when my body says no? Where am I shrinking to keep others comfortable? What truth is my body trying to help me face? Pain is not a failure. It's an invitation to slow down, to listen, to change. Even chronic conditions often carry a soul message alongside medical causes. This is not about blame. It's about listening with love, trauma, and the body's language of protection. The soul may speak through the body, but trauma can interrupt the signal. When you've experienced trauma, big or small, your body learns to protect you by tightening, by dissociating, by going numb or hypervigilant. These are not signs of brokenness. They are signs of your body's brilliance. If you struggle to feel, to move freely, to rest, honor that. Start slow. Be gentle. Healing is not forcing openness. It's earning safety. Work with your body, not against it. The body as a portal to pleasure and presence. The soul doesn't only speak through pain, it also speaks through pleasure. The way your skin warms in the sun, the way your breath deepens during a hug, the goosebumps when truth is spoken, the electric pulse of creativity and aliveness. Pleasure is not a distraction from spirituality. It is a pathway to it. Let yourself savor. Let yourself feel good, not in fleeting highs, but in grounded embodiment. The more safely you inhabit your body, the more fully you receive your soul's guidance. Ritual, body blessing ceremony. Create a sacred moment of reconnection with your physical self. Body blessing ritual. Prepare a quiet space, soft lighting, perhaps gentle music. Stand or sit before a mirror. One by one, touch different parts of your body. Speak aloud. Thank you, feet, for grounding me. Thank you, hands, for creating. Thank you, belly, for holding my intuition. Thank you, heart, for loving so fiercely. End with, I honor this body as the sacred home of my soul. Tears may come. Let them. This is remembrance. Sacred boundaries and somatic sovereignty. Listening to the body also means honoring its limits, saying no when you're overwhelmed, leaving environments that feel heavy, taking breaks when fatigue sets in, asking for touch or space with clarity. The more you respect your body, the louder your soul becomes. Because when the body feels safe, the soul feels welcome. Sovereignty doesn't require explanation. It requires presence. Closing reflection. Your body is not a problem to be solved. It is a partner on your soul's path. It will not lie to you. It may ache. It may tremble. It may resist. But beneath all of that, it is always reaching for wholeness. When you stop trying to control your body and start listening to it, you begin to speak the language of your soul with every breath. So, the next time your back tightens, or your heart flutters, or your stomach knots, pause and say, Dear body, I'm listening. Dear soul, I am home. 7. Dancing with divine timing. The soul doesn't rush. It doesn't wear a watch. It speaks in seasons, in spirals, in silent unfolding. This chapter is about letting go of the frantic chase to arrive and learning instead to dance with divine timing. Because your soul has not forgotten the rhythm. Even when your mind screams, now. Your soul may whisper, not yet, beloved. The illusion of control. Modern life teaches us to push, to schedule growth, to demand answers, to measure our worth by how much we've achieved and how fast. But the soul is not a machine. It is a garden. And gardens bloom not by pressure, but by patience, by light, by readiness. Trying to rush your soul is like tugging on flower buds, demanding they blossom before spring. The illusion of control is comforting, but costly Because while you're trying to force open a door, your soul may be gently leading you to another one entirely. Underscore. The sacred, not yet. There is a holy space between desire and manifestation, between knowing and clarity, between planting and harvest. We call this space limbo. The soul calls it preparation. If things haven't happened yet, it doesn't mean you're blocked. It doesn't mean you're behind. It doesn't mean you failed. It may mean you're germinating. In the silence, your roots grow deeper. In the pause, your heart is strengthened. In the waiting, your alignment is refined. The not yet is not punishment. It's soul choreography. Signs you're in a sacred pause. You feel called to rest, withdraw, or reflect. What once excited you now feels like a closed chapter. You sense something new is coming, but can't see it yet. Old paths no longer fit, but the new path hasn't arrived. This is the cocoon phase. From the outside, nothing seems to be happening. But inside, everything is transforming. The soul often pulls you inward before launching you outward. Don't mistake stillness for stagnation. Don't confuse delay with denial. Trusting the soul's rhythm. Divine timing asks you to trust without proof. To stay open when nothing makes sense. To hold vision while releasing control. This is the ultimate spiritual dance. Swaying between surrender and storage. Surrender says, I release the outcome. I trust what is for me will come. I don't have to make it happen through Stewardship says, I show up with devotion. I prepare the ground. I act on the nudges I receive. The magic lives in their union. Divine delay versus soul misalignment. Not everything delayed is divine. Sometimes the soul is signaling not now. Other times, it's signaling not this. To discern the difference. Delay feels like a gentle block, frustrating but not toxic. Misalignment feels heavy, draining, or false. Your body resists it. Ask, am I trying to make this happen out of fear or truth? Does this align with my core values? Would I still want this if no one else approved? Your soul doesn't say yes to everything. It says yes to what? True. Underscore. Living in right relationship, If time is not your enemy. It's your mirror. When you rush time, you rush yourself. When you fear time, you fear trust. When you align with time, you align with truth. The soul doesn't care how long it takes, only that it's real. So the next time you feel behind, remember, no one else has your path. You are not late, you are ripening. Nothing true for you will pass you by. Even missed opportunities are rerouted through grace. Soul timing in relationships, purpose, and healing. Relationships. Sometimes we meet the right person at the wrong time. Sometimes we meet the wrong person to remind us of our worth. Soul timing in love requires deep discernment. Are we here to build together or to catalyze each other and part? Not every connection is me and to last, but every soul encounter has its season. Purpose. Your soul's purpose may unfold slowly, first as a whisper, then a curiosity, then a sacred yes. True. The detours. They shape your voice, your depth, your compass. Healing. Healing doesn't obey deadlines. You may feel amazing one day, unraveling the next. Let healing be cyclical, like the moon, like the tide, like your breath. Your pace is not broken. It is blessed. Underscore, 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 underscore. Sacred practices for aligning with divine timing. 1. Lunar journaling. Use the moon phases to track your inner cycles. New moon, intention setting. Full moon, clarity and release. Waning, reflection. Waxing, growth. Your soul loves rhythm. The moon teaches you how to trust it. 2. Intuitive scheduling. Instead of cramming your calendar, leave sacred white space. Ask each week, what actually feels aligned right now? What am I doing just to prove, please, or perform? Let your time reflect your truth. 3. Pause before yes. Before saying yes to anything, a project, a PL, a path, pause. Ask, is this from fear or love? Is this soul-led or ego-driven? Your yes is powerful. Spend it with care. Underscore, 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 underscore. Underscore, 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 underscore. Ritual, letter to divine timing. Timing trust ritual. Sit quietly. Light a candle. Write a letter to divine timing as if it were a beloved friend. Begin with, Dear divine timing, I struggle to trust you because I'm afraid that if I W8, I'll miss out on. But I want to learn how to surrender because, end with, teach me to dance with you. Help me feel your rhythm in my bones. Let me bloom when it's time, not before. This conversation shifts everything. Underscore, 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 underscore. Underscore, 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 underscore. Closing reflection. You were never meant to bloom on anyone else's timeline. You are not late. You are becoming. Every delay, every detour, every paused plan. It is the choreography of grace. And even if it looks like nothing is happening on the surface, deep below, your soul is preparing a harvest beyond imagination. So breathe. Trust the RHY, THM, you cannot yet hear. And whisper to yourself, I will not rush the magic meant for me. I will honor the wisdom of waiting. I will dance step by step with the timing of my soul. 8. Reclaiming your voice. Somewhere along the way, you were told to hush, to soften your truth, to speak only when it was safe or convenient or invited. And so, piece by piece, you folded your voice into silence. But your voice, is never meant to be hidden. It is the frequency of your soul, a sacred current carrying your truth into the world. This chapter is not about speaking louder. It's about speaking truer, about remembering that your voice is not a weapon, but a vessel of remembrance. R. Acclamation and radiance. Underscore. underscore 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 underscore. The silence we inherited. So many of us were conditioned to silence ourselves. Be nice. Don't rock the boat. Don't be so emotional. Keep the peace. And so we learned to downplay our needs, to doubt our intuition, to filter our truth through the lens of other people's comfort, to abandon our voice in order to belong. But silence born of fear is not peace. It is a soul wound. Why we lose our voice. We lose our voice not only through trauma or oppression, but through everyday choices to betray our truth. Smiling when we want to cry. Agreeing when we want to say no. Holding our tongue to avoid conflict. Speaking from performance, not presence. Each time we deny our truth, we drift further from our essence. But even after decades of suppressio, your voice waits, patient, potent, and ready to se. The voice of the soul versus the voice of the ego. To reclaim your voice, you must first discern. What voice are you using? The ego's voice. Speaks to prove, defend, or impress. Is reactive, rehearsed, or performative. It is shaped by external approval. The soul's voice speaks with rooted clarity, emerges from stillness and knowing. It isn't always loud, but it is alwa. Yes, true. The soul's voice may whisper. It may tremble. It may come out messy at first, but it will always carry you closer to your Ruth. The body-voice connection. Your voice lives in your throat, but is rooted in your body. A silenced voice, often chorale. Atesh with a tight jaw, a lump in the throat, chronic coughing or throat clearing, shoulders hunched as if hiding. The heart, reclaiming your voice begins. In the body, breathing fully, releasing tension, standing tall, letting sound rise from your belly. Your mask. Embodiment exercise, sound and soothe. Place a hand on your chest. Inhale deeply. Exhale with a soft, no performance, just release. Repeat until you feel your voice returning to you, not as noise, but as medicine, speaking without apology. So often, we lace our truth with apology. Sorry, but I'm probably wrong, but I don't know if this sense, but these are not kindness. They are conditioning. What if you said, this is my experience. This is how I feel. This is my boundary. Without shrinking. Without explaining. Without waiting for permission. You don't need to be perfect. Speak your truth. You only need to be present. Underscore, 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 underscore. The power of naming. One of the most radical acts of reclamation is to name W. Has been unnamed. I am tired. I feel hurt. I want more. I don't know WH. And I believe enemo. I am not okay. Naming is a spell. It breaks the silence. It brings energy into form. Even if you only speak it to yourself in a journal, naming your tea. Ruth begins the alchemy. underscore 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 underscore. Writing as voice recovery. If speaking feels scary, start with writing. Let your pen be the first place you tell the truth. Soul writing prompt. Complete the fall. Lowing without censorship. What I'm afraid to say out loud is, what I really want to tell the world is, if I didn't care what anyone thought, I would say, let the ink set you free. Your voice does not require an audience to be sacred. It only requires your honesty. Underscore, 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 underscore. Speaking up in relationships. Reclaiming your voice. It'll shift your relationships. Some people will celebrate your truth. Others may resist it because it changes the dance they're used to. But you were not born to live in choreography. You were born to speak soul. When you voice your truth in love, not from blame, but from clarity, you permit others to do the same. Start with, this is what I need right now. When you said that, it hurt. I want to be honest with you, even if it's messy. You don't need to scream to be heard. You need to speak from your center. Underscore, 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 underscore. Healing the throat chakra. In energy medicine, the throat chakra, a Vishuddha, governs expression. When it's blocked, you may feel hesitant, anxious, or inauthentic. Your voice may feel weak or stuck. You may struggle to speak up for yourself. To heal it, sing even badly. Speak affirmations aloud. My voice matters. I express myself freely and honestly. Wear blue. Drink herbal teas that soothe the throat. Journal about the moments your voice was silenced and the ones where it soared. Let your throat become a river, not a dam. Underscore, 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 underscore. Ritual, the voice reclamation vow. Voice reclamation ritual. Stand in front of a mirror. Look into your own eyes. Place your hand on your throat. Speak this aloud. I honor the voice I buried to survive. I welcome the voice rising now to thrive. I do not need to be perfect to be powerful. My truth is sacred. My voice is enough. I reclaim it. I respect it. I rise with it. Let these words anchor in. Feel their vibrations settle into your being. You are becoming your own echo. Underscore, 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 underscore. Underscore, 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 underscore 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 underscore. Closing reflection. Your voice is not a mistake. It is not too much. It is not too soft. It is not too late. It is the sound of your soul touching the world. And even if it shakes, even if it cracks, even if no one else understands, speak it, because every time you do, you reclaim the part of you that once thought you had to hide. So speak your needs. Eat your boundaries. Speak your beauty. Speak your becoming. And if the world is not ready for your truth, whisper it anyway. Because the soul doesn't wait for applause. It speaks because it must. My voice is my freedom. My truth is my prayer. And I will never silence myself again. 9. Soulful integration and daily rituals. Awakening is not just a moment. It is a movement, from insight to embodiment, from idea to action, from knowing to living. This chapter is about integration, the art of bringing the soul home, not in flashes of epiphany, but in how you rise, how you breath, how you stir your tea at sunrise. Because the soul doesn't want just to be discovered. It wants to be lived. What is integration? Integration is where healing becomes where realization becomes rhythm, where the sacred is woven into the mundane. Without integration, spiritual awakening becomes fragmented. Moments of clarity are followed by illusion. Beautiful visions dissolve into everyday stress. We chase peak experiences instead of grounded presence. Integration doesn't always feel glamorous. It often feels slow, subtle, even invisible. But it's how truth takes signs you're being called to integrate. You've had spiritual insights, but don't know how to live them. You feel overwhelmed by growth and unsure how to ground. Old habits try to creep back in. You long for simplicity, structure, and soul. Full rhythm. You want to stop doing spirituality and being it. Integration is the bridge. It's where you stop seeking the light and start being lamp. Why integration matters. Without integration, even the deepest breakthroughs fade. We return to autopilot. We forget what we remembered. We abandon the very self we worked so hard to uncover. But when you live from your soul, even in the laundry room, even in traffic, even at work, you become a vessel of aligned presence. That is the power of daily ritual. It reminds you again and again of who you are. Underscore, 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 underscore. The soul thrives in ritual. Ritual is not religious. It's not stiff or sterile. It is sacred repetition. It's rhythm, reverence, remembering. A ritual can be lighting a candle before journaling, placing your hand on your heart each morning, preparing food with presence and gratitude, saying a silent prayer before sleep, drinking your tea slowly, eyes closed, like a ceremony. Ritual creates containers for the soul to move through time. It says to the universe, I'm available. I'm listening. I'm here. Underscore, 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 underscore. underscore 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 underscore. Soulful integration in everyday life. Let's look at how to infuse soul, into the simple moments. Morning, begin as a vessel. Wake up without immediately reaching for your phone. Place a hand on your heart and whisper, I return to myself. Breathe deeply. Ask, how can I embody truth today? Light a candle or stretch. In silence for 5 minutes. This is not about control, it's about connection. Work, bring presence into productivity. Take 1 to 2 minutes between tasks to breathe or center. Set the intention before meetings. May I speak fro? Clarity, not performance. Infuse creativity into routines. Keep a crystal, image, or soul anchor near your workspace. Let your energy set tone, not just your output. Meals, make eating sacred. Eat without screens. Bless your food, even silently. Feel the nourishment. Thank the earth, the hands, the process. This turns eating from consumption into communion. Relationships, speak from soul. Pause before responding. Ask, is this truth or reaction? Name your needs without apology. Offer genuine appreciation daily. Let love be deliberate, not assumed. Evening, release and reset. Reflect, where did I show up as my soul today? Where did I abandon myself? Journal your wins and lessons. Take a grounding shower or stretch. Whisper to yourself, I forgive, I release, I return. Let sleep be a sacred dew, or way, not an exhausted collapse. Underscore 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 underscore. Weekly soul check-ins. Set aside sacred time, once a week, for deeper listening. Soul Sunday or any day. GHD incense or a candle. Journal. What am I proud of? What feels misaligned? Where is my energy asking to shift? Pull. An oracle card. Clean your altar. Recommit to your intention. This isn't about fixing your life. It's about aligning with your essence. Underscore, 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 underscore. Underscore, 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 underscore. Repetition as devotion. You may feel resistant to ritual. You may think, why bother? It's just 5 minutes. But consistency is not boring. It is devotion in disguise. Spiritual growth is not always loud. Sometimes I tease soft, consistent choices that say, I value my soul enough to show up. I love myself enough to stay anchored. I will. I'll not abandon my truth for convenience. Underscore, 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 underscore. Your life as a living altar. Your home, your routine, your voice. All of it can become an altar. Place beauty where your eyes often land. Infuse intention into your chores. As I sweep, I clear energy. As I fold laundry, I wrap myself in love. Let music, scent, and touch awaken your senses. Let your calendar reflect your values, not just obligations. You are not separate from the sacred. You are its rhythm. It's a ritual. It's a reflection. Creating your own daily soul practice. You don't need hours. You need intimacy. Design a 5 to 15-minute daily ritual that anchors your soul. Examples: soul ritual. Light a candle. Place your hand on your heart. Speak an affirmation. I trust the unfolding of my life. Journal 3 lines about your emotional state. Pull a card or simply breathe and listen. Close with, I am present. I am safe. I am guided. Customize it. Make it yours. Your practice is not ain't to be trendy. It's meant to be true. _ Ritual. The whisper vow. You've listened. You've healed. You've remembered. Now, you vow to live what you found. Whisper vow ritual. Light a white candle. Place your hand on your heart. Speak aloud. I vow to live from the soul I have remembered. I vow to speak truth with tenderness, even when it trembles. I vow to honor my own light while holding space for others. I vow to be a whisper of truth in a world that often forgets. I vow to serve not from duty, but from love. I vow to walk as light, softly and fully. Let this be your quiet promise. To live not louder, but truer. Closing reflection. The journey is not over. It spirals, deepens, and expands. But you are no longer only listening to the whisper. You are becoming it. In your softness, others remember their strength. In your honesty, others find courage. In your quiet, others hear themselves more clearly. You are not here to convince. You are here to embody. So walk owly, speak gently, love deeply, live truth, fully, and when the world forgets, be the whisper that reminds it. You are light. You are the truth. You are home. Whispers of the soul. A journey of remembering, listening, and living your deeps. Truth. 5. Spiritual Awakening Book 6. 5. Spiritual Awakening Book 5. For the update audiobook by click follow Soul Sanctu. Airy Audio.